Tactical maneuvering, than which there is nothing more difficult. The difficulty of tactical maneuvering consists in turning the devious into the direct and misfortune into gain. I like it. Maneuvering, in the context of the art of war, is based on your environment. Where you are in space and time is what dictates your maneuvers. This is that four-dimensional battlefield I was describing in our first video. And the information you take in before and during the fight is how you know your place on that battlefield. We're going to break down how this information / spatial awareness / maneuvering relationship evolves in two separate real-life scenarios that really, I think, hit the point home. March 24th, 2021. Joshua Gloria is shot by Officer Brian Birch. The investigation is still ongoing, however, we are going to show you the raw body cam footage as a simple demonstration of maneuvering, positioning, and angle manipulation. By angle manipulation, I mean the ebb and flow of opponents in and around objects in the environment. In this context, an object could be a wall or even a motorcycle. I'm going to play the body cam footage, turn, and pretend like I'm watching it, but you should really watch it, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Traffic is moderate. Number 3 lane moderate traffic. Vehicle yielding. Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired. 1199. Shots fired. Suspect down. Suspect down. Peter, you hit?
Why don't I just cut the feed and put the video in front? That's a great question. Anyway, we're going to pause right here for a quick anatomy lesson. Let's start with the sheer amount of information processing taking place here. There are multiple portions of the officer's brain all working overtime in this situation, and many against each other. For instance, the officer can't navigate this much traffic without being very aware of his periphery. Cars are approaching and passing at almost all angles around this motorcycle. The human peripheral vision system is unique in 3 respects. It is wider than you think, it has horrible resolution, and has incredibly high sensitivity to motion. Scientists believe that as predators attack from the side and often from the rear, we've evolved this trait to sense motion from directions that aren't directly in front of us. Now it keeps us safe from traffic. However, the brain also wants desperately to hyper-focus in the center of this officer's vision. The amygdala sends stress signals to the hypothalamus, which happily pumps a host of chemicals into your body. The chemicals dilate, blur, and interrupt blood flow, which cause major vision problems. Your brain will also deliver chemicals to stifle auditory processing. I've personally had this one happen to me several times, with hearing almost completely disappearing. These stress responses are very dangerous, but they are natural and they eventually stop. This officer is experiencing all of those stress responses at once and doing a damn fine job of handling it. In fact, the chemicals that cause these issues are delivered by blood, which means slowing one's heart rate is the key to stopping these negative body and mental responses. Like I said, Officer Birch is doing an outstanding job of this, and he's managing his responses, demonstrating an excellent awareness of himself and a lot of control. Officer Birch is also asking questions and gaining a sense of the situation while en route on the radio. This is common for most military or law enforcement arriving to a scene, but accomplishing that on a motorcycle in pursuit through midday traffic while fighting all of these stress responses that I was just talking about, that is no small task. However, the information regarding positioning, the status of his soon-to-be adversary, these are vital pieces of the puzzle that will dictate how the officer maneuvers on his opponent, even before he reaches the scene. He's building the gunfight on his way to it. At this point, through a series of gunshots or whatever took place to the vehicle, the suspect's vehicle has a flat. The officer is notified of this and is notified that it's the left rear tire. The assumption now is that the suspect will ride out the pursuit until the car crashes, at which point he will surrender, flee, or steal another vehicle. The officer arrives at the parked suspect's vehicle only to be welcomed by gunfire. The officer immediately ditches the bike and runs for the woods. But why would someone leave cover and concealment, in this case the motorcycle, to sprint into an open field? The answer is angles. Officer Birch is being fired upon from the driver's side of the suspect's vehicle, and that suspect could not turn the corner fast enough to maintain sight of Birch if he ran to the woods. Birch gets low, realizing that the shooting has stopped after he's ran a certain distance, and immediately turns to face his threat. This is incredible timing and presence of mind to accomplish this type of maneuver. Once the suspect realizes that he's been forced to choose between escape on the motorcycle and ending the gunfight by killing the officer, he panics and he chooses neither one. Birch briefly pauses for traffic before delivering multiple well-timed and well-placed shots, killing Mr. Gloria. I don't want to glorify what he did, but as far as gunfighting is concerned, this was kind of textbook. To secure ourselves against defeat is in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Photos on the scene show that Mr. Gloria clearly had a gun on him, but this is too recent of an event to pass judgment. I merely want to use this video to demonstrate the relationship between information, reception, presence of mind, and maneuvering. Sun Tzu recognized the importance of all three of these concepts, and executing a decision is a multi-step process. Ponder and deliberate before you make a move. He will conquer who has learnt the artifice of deviation. Such is the art of maneuvering. Sun Tzu is telling us to decisively get the fuck off the X. Birch did this wonderfully in a counterintuitive way by abandoning cover in exchange for enemies' confusion and creating a superior angle for himself in relation to Gloria, considering the environment and the timing. Disciplined and calm, to await the appearance of disorder and hubbub amongst the enemy. This is the art of retaining self-possession. Using the enemy's terrain against him, or using terrain as bait, is textbook gunfighting and is celebrated often in the art of war. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping the enemy on the move maintains deceitful appearances, according to which the enemy will act. He sacrifices something, in this case a motorcycle or ground, that the enemy may snatch at it. Let's see another example, this time from the side of a bad guy. This is FLIR footage of a combination Green Beret and Native Commando unit. The wall is the entrance to a compound the team is going to be securing, and they are about to meet resistance from a particularly brave and clever fighter. Even Green Berets get taken off guard, and as you can hear by this one's testimony, they were dangerously close to getting royally fucked up. I'm going to go back to pretending that I'm watching this, but pay attention to the enemy's movements and how confused a very well-trained team of people can get when paired with A, inadequate fighters, or B, paired with people who aren't familiar with gunfighting at its essence. They were not waiting for this attack to happen, and this Green Beret was obviously taken off guard. Take a look.
We head to the compound, and we think we're just gonna go storm in there and shellac these motherfuckers. And this is what happens instead. One thing that I do have to say is one of the guys that was pulling security didn't load his 249, and his belt was hanging out the side. I've told you that story before. Well, this is the instance. So as I'm yelling at this guy, I'm exposing our position and letting them know that we're coming. So now they're prepared for us. Dumbass on my part, dumbass on that other part for not loading his damn gun and holding a security position and going to a compound that we know is occupied by armed personnel. So getting back to it, this is us coming up. The big one right there is dark as shit and we're under nods, obviously. So that's why you'll see some kind of like shaky walking, and we're doing our best not to trip. So you guys will find out as you're walking in nods, it's really important you take big heel to toe steps. Last thing you want to do is trip in a gunfight. So we're stacked up on the wall, we're ready to go in, and we're about to flow in and just conduct normal CQB operations. Luckily, my team sergeant decided he was going to pie instead of just flowing in. That saved our lives. In all honesty, that saved us. So there you can see us stacked. See how we all tightened up. We're getting ready to flow into the compound. My team sergeant takes the number one position. Those two guys to the left of him are commandos. So what you're seeing here is The team sergeant's looking. He decides to pie. He sees a guy. He doesn't see this guy just to the right that's really close. He sees another guy in the compound and decides he's going to try to take him out before we flow in, not realizing that there's multiple combatants in there and one of them being right there. So that decision that he made to pie and then try to take this guy out saved our lives. All right, so my team sergeant starts taking shots. You could see those rounds kind of popping off the wall. That's just his muzzle blast. He's not hitting the wall. He's shooting that guy. I'm pretty sure he hit him. But then he starts taking heavy fire back. And then the wall starts getting lit up. You can see the rounds exploding off the wall. Then you see the Afghan commando on the left. He shoots and he doesn't aim because why the fuck would you? And he shoots the wall. The wall exploding, that's the commando shooting the wall. And then you'll see on the far right, that's my team sergeant as he starts hopping up and down. He just took a ricochet from the wall because that commando is shooting the wall. And then you'll see the guy is still just on the other side of the wall. He has not been engaged yet, so he knows he's in a good position. So my team sergeant is trying to assess his damage. He lets us know that he's been shot. He took a round to the leg. He did have 5.56 in his leg from that commando. So then he makes another good call to start throwing grenades. There you go. You'll see on that top is, I'm pretty sure that was my EOD buddy throwing grenades. And then something happened that we didn't expect. So we start throwing grenades over the wall, and instead of that enemy combatant running away from the grenades, he runs at us. So now we have the enemy combatant running at the wall, and now we are back to back with one of the enemy. There's multiple in that compound, but this one realizes that he has not yet been specifically targeted and uses that to his advantage. I will give him that. That was a ballsy ass move. And he had grenades on his body, because obviously he ended up getting schwacked, and he could have just dumped those grenades over and that would have taken us all out. Yes, you're looking at that right. That is the enemy and us within feet of each other. So what is that? That commando then sees him, that he's literally face to face with the guy, and starts shooting at him. Unfortunately, he forgets to aim again and just shoots the wall, not hitting the enemy combatant, which almost then causes us to get killed, because then as we're exfilling the position, he takes a good need position and starts shooting back at us. We pull back again. 30 Mike goes over and ends up killing him.
Now don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to put anybody down here. Obviously this man is a professional and probably knows a shit ton more about killing people than I do. But the lessons that Sun Tzu's teaching apply very well, and what his adversary did here was something that was predicted thousands of years ago by a guy writing a book about war. I just want to make this connection with you. This man's extremely well trained and could still fall victim to the things you're learning about in this video. Just a testament to why we should pay attention. Rapidity is the essence of war. Take advantage of the enemy's unreadiness. Make your way by unexpected routes and attack unguarded spots. In all fighting, the direct method may be used for joining battle, but indirect methods will be needed in order to secure a victory. Study angles, study indirect methods of attack. Why are these so important in gunfighting? And study what maneuvering for an indirect attack looks like. A retreat is not a failure, especially with projectile weapons like firearms, where distance just eventually stops mattering. Practice actual maneuvering, and check out our footwork video for more info on how to accomplish that. Links for the videos you saw here are in the description. Until next time, stay safe, keep learning about this stuff, practice, practice, practice. Go read The Art of War. It's like super short. Put a link up for it. Like seriously, audiobook, free. It's like thousands of years old. It's definitely worth a read. Business, shoot it, you get the point. Read the damn book.